girls. What's up?
It's
Kathy. Andrea. Oh man. We're going to be filming the questions today, the boys, so you can get their real expressions. We thought it might be a little bit more fun. Yeah, a bit more fun. A bit more fun today. And we're going to be answering a few of them too. We've added a few more questions just because we might want to get some questions
some
answered
info
too.
Some bit of info.
Yeah, bit
Side
of
info.
Exactly. We've got Tui, Nathan, Steve and Brad joining us very shortly.
Woo.
So we should get started.
Let's get it rolling.
Enjoy! How do you think a girl should break out of the friend zone with a guy?
I reckon is to maybe start like giving little signals that you could be interested. So maybe whether it's like being a little more touchy or maybe just giving him a few more little compliments and then see how he responds. And then you'll hopefully get a feel of whether he still sees you as a friend or there could be something more. Also, I reckon like as much as, you know, everyone says like, you know, looks are kind of shallow, I think guys are a little bit visual. So maybe if you're someone who's like always very sporty like I was, you know, half the time all my guy friends would see me and like, you know, my skin's and like all sweaty. So I reckon maybe, you know, sometimes if you see him, maybe put that little more effort into trying to spice yourself up, you know, get yourself looking all fine. So, you know, hopefully, yeah, get him having a little second look at you. A quick little peep.
Get out of that friend
It's
zone.
impossible. I think it's not up to you, it's up to the other person. You're in their friend zone, there's nothing you can do.
What if you try and hint to them that you like them?
I think that could make it worse, I think, in some ways. I don't know. Because if they see you as a friend, you liking them is going to make it awkward. If they don't see you in that way.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah, I can see your point.
But what if
Breaking
you're
out of
what if it's someone that's just a very closed off person and they're
so
not
this is a really tough
they're not good at showing that they
It also
like
depends on
someone.
the situation as
Yeah.
well.
I think all you can really do in that, if you're in friend zone, all you can really do is be consistent with who you are. And if they don't see how much of a good person you are, then they're not worth it.
It is, what's the most attractive trait or traits for a girl to have? And what are the most unattractive traits?
Traits.
Or like qualities?
The girls want to know this.
Let's go, Nate. There you go. You want to go first?
Go that way, that way. There you go.
For me, personally, I think confidence is a big thing. Doesn't matter if they're shy or they're like extroverted or really out there, but as long as they're confident in who they are. They have to like dogs.
Yeah. Hey, get down, man! Stop touching me.
And then another big one for me is purity. I think that's really like rare these days, and I think it's beautiful.
That's it.
Thanks, Nathan. Tui.
That's exactly what I was going to
Yep, you're good.
I guess I'd have to say, I mean, I agree with what Nate said, but I would like to say something different as well. Yeah, I guess like, it's like strong foundations in God, it helps a lot. Because then you kind of have some sort of firm ground to stand on when you're both kind of, you know, talking about things, you kind of have the same similar views. It helps a lot.
Well, I agree with what Nathan and Tui said. So I think strong foundation in God is very important, and also like consistency. So if you say one thing, then you follow through and act out the same way.
What's the problem
Go.
to me? Tell us.
I know.
Tell us.
Girls are too, like...
Aggressive?
Lifters.
I don't know, I mean, some girls can be like kind of really like just, I don't know.
I get you.
I know what you're talking about, man.
I guess some girls can be pushy or like really
Like desperate.
yeah, desperate.
Bossy.
They
There
can
we
be,
go.
They can be, yeah, bossy, desperate, and it kind of just shows, even though if they don't think it is, and it's like, oh, hey, slow down.
Girls who are controlling and overbearing.
Yeah, controlling, overbearing. That's yeah. The sun's also in my eyeballs, so.
Yeah, you're the one glowing in this. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
So
what
that's
you're
probably
saying?
that's probably the most unattractive thing.
Okay.
Just kind of, you know, relax. They just need to relax sometimes. Just, you know, yeah.
So desperateness. Okay. Do you have anything to add?
You say desperateness.
Yes. Shut up.
Like a big.
Like,
Yes. Girls that are manipulating.
Okay.
You're manipulating in a bad way. And then there's
Is it manipulating in a good way?
maybe, I don't know. Could be.
No, there's not.
No, there's definitely.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Because
Blackmail someone to come to
manipulating-
church.
Manipulating is trying to be deceptive.
Yeah.
So you're right, no.
No,
I mean, you're just
manipulative, being
clarifying that it
manipulative.
is bad.
Then also dishonest, like just say what you mean and be honest about it instead of trying to
Yeah.
beat around the bush.
Sure. Are we delving to other questions now? Or
Our attractive qualities also, being modest, because one of the most unattractive qualities is like sort of girls who think that they're really attractive or know that they're really attractive
and they play
and
on
flaunt it
Mm.
and take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And I think purity isn't just like abstraining from sex, but it's how you dress, it's how you talk, it's giving every aspect of your life to kind of God and letting Him shape and mold you. So if you're living according to His will, and I think you'll be right, because you realize what's a really dangerous situation and you'll avoid it.
Be the way that you dress, the way that you conduct yourself, being honourable with the way that you treat your
Treat your body like a temple?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Did you care about that in year 9 though?
As a boy.
As a boy?
What?
It's just not caring what, like if you're being or aiming for purity and sexual purity, like either or, and you're trying to strive to achieve that, but there's other, like you might have close friends who are going out partying and dressing like that. It's okay to be different, and I think it might be hard. You might get pressured a little bit to conform to, like you might not get as much attention as those other girls, but I think
That's
it's
the
worth
wrong
the wait.
attention. It's the wrong attention that you don't want.
Well, for me personally, attractive qualities would be down to earth, not full of yourself, not condescending. You get those girls that sort of sit there and they're like, almost act as though they're a little bit better than you. That someone who's happy to be themselves, someone who's consistent, I would say. Don't change yourself depending on who you're around. Those are the attractive. Someone who's really kind, considerate of other people, and they're definitely down to earth. Yeah. Unattractive. I pretty much summed it up, didn't I? Unattractive is like condescending, up yourself. Also the way your appearance tells a lot about you. If you dress a little bit, inappropriate, classy. Being classy is attractive. I think girls are misled thinking that wearing a short skirt or having your tits out, is attractive. No decent guy likes that.
So it's, what do you do when you think that you're losing your best friend?
That's a hard question. It's a real struggle when you're losing a close friend, because you've been so close for so long and you have all these good memories, and then often one bad thing can happen and it just becomes a big mess. And often if you don't talk about it, you don't know how to deal with it together as friends. And I think with me, I've been in a big fight with one of my best friends, and it was over a boy who she was dating. They're not together anymore, but they were dating at the time, and I just got jealous because she spent all her time with him and I felt like she didn't care about me anymore, and we'd been like best friends for so long, and it was just really hard, and we didn't talk about it. The anger just kept building and building, and often, that was my phone, I just ended up hating her instead of loving her. And there was actually, the situation wasn't bad itself, and there was some words said that we both regretted, but I think if you don't talk about it, then it's never going to be resolved. And if you're good enough friends...
Sorry. Got a cold, guys.
Yeah, I know. This is going to be in the film. It's excellent.
Yeah.
I think if you're good enough friends to actually talk about it, then the friendship will still be there. But it also takes time. I know often people are hurt and people have said things or done things that they shouldn't have, and so it often takes time to forgive. But forgiveness is a big thing, and you have to remember that forgiveness is the biggest part of life. You have to forgive everyone and yourself as well, in order to move on.
Yeah. When it comes to a relationship, dun dun dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
how far is too far? What's the line? What's the boundary?
The boundary. I think in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, if you have to ask the question, is it too far? Then it probably is, if that makes any sense at all.
No, I get you. I feel ya.
I think sexualness, like physicalness, if you just feel guilt or you feel like it's wrong, then it probably is as well. It can be hard, especially if you've gone that little bit further.
To pull it back.
Often it pushes. It pushes that line. The more you push that line, the further the line's going to go.
Very true.
So you have to have strict boundaries and really talk about it, but also put God at the center of your relationship.
Amen.
And just... Amen! I'm preaching.
No, I was being serious that time.
Yeah, just put God at the center of your relationship. That's the most important thing you can do, and just pray about it. If you have gone that step further, I know it can be hard to, take a step back and stop, because obviously you question yourself. You're like, well, we've already gone this far. Why stop now?
Don't touch what you don't got.
I think actually this is a very good one.
If it's
It's
I
every
won't say
person-
that. That's bad.
Every person
Say
is,
your nine.
every
Say your
person
nine,
is-
girls, say your
every
nine.
person is different, and they all have their own
Willpower.
and boundaries that they feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like some people might be really uncomfortable just like sitting next to someone. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just giving an example. Like, you know, just mucking around. And then there's other people like totally fine with that.
It's true.
And it's not like they're not tempted. So it's knowing where you lie, I think, you know, to the boundary, and you obviously don't want to go. Most people tend to think, oh, I'll try and go as close to the boundary, and try and push it and see.
Yeah,
you know?
there's also another thing. I think we all have good intentions when it comes to relationships and boundaries, but we talk about boundaries, but it's another thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
Like we go, oh yeah, we'll put Christ first. We'll put, you know, we won't go in the bedroom. We won't shut the door. We won't hang out in the car at night time. But it's so hard to avoid that kind of situation.
Yeah. But see, that doesn't apply to everyone though, because
Yeah, it doesn't. And so there's different levels of boundaries for different people.
different people, yeah, and that's why I reckon I firmly believe in. So I think it's just to kind of you talk to them and you kind of you assess where you think you are at, I guess.
I think kissing's fine, holding hands fine. Besides that, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't think Alan Demond would fully know. I think he would say, you know, nothing beyond a smooch. But I think in this day and age, everything's so sexualized. It's
Very
kids
hard
are
to-
doing. It's hard to show self-control. What I can say on this. Feels weird.
Purity.
Be true to yourself and be true to your beliefs. Don't give in to what you're often told is right.
Especially what the world says.
You got to think long term. And any decent guy, like
Christian
any
guy?
good Christian church, nice guy, is not going to ever look twice at a girl who has got a bad reputation for sleeping around. She'll get attention from guys who aren't the right guys.
It's also a gift from God for marriage.
Very true.
It's just, that's God's blessing, and they say it's the closest thing you'll feel to heaven.
I haven't really officially dated many guys. I've sort of done the whole you kind of see each other thing, and I guess my whole life I've always kind of thought of it as previously kind of how much you could get away with. So thinking about sex is falling off the cliff, but how close you could get to the edge of the cliff. But when I kind of, I don't know, I suppose I did pray about it a lot, and chatting with my dad who read a lot of books on it, he basically kind of put, it's not, at the end of the day, if your goal really is to wait till you're married, that you really need to be reasonable and think how much can you handle to stop you, and what do you need to do to actually stop yourself from having sex. And so I
Where's
think,
the line?
yeah.
If the line is here, then you have to
Yeah.
set it back here so you
Yeah.
don't get there.
And I think it's definitely better, in life, it's better to leave yourself sort of more, like more room to make mistakes. So I think for me personally, I'm going to set my line at kissing, because I think there's a lot of in-betweeners, and I think if you set your line a lot higher up, say things like all your oral sex and things like that, you're so close that you have this much room for mistakes. And I don't know, I also kind of thought of it as my dad would always say, like, you know, God's always watching. So imagine
him in the room.
Imagine him in the
Yeah.
room, or like what you wouldn't
That's
do.
what I said the other day to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine
God
if he
is-
was
God is
standing
there.
right there. Yeah.
Like
He
imagine,
knows
like,
what you're doing and he
yeah.
sees what you're doing.
And God's like your dad, so imagine
Yeah.
having like God or like your dad in the room when you're with the guy. Like, I think what you wouldn't really feel comfortable doing in front of your dad, you shouldn't really be doing.
But I think it's the most important thing. You can stop. I know people who have had sex before marriage, Christian couple, but they've stopped before they've got married, because, you know, you have to give that area of your life to God and follow him in that way, I guess. So you give him that area of your life to God. You know, you give him everything. So in order to put him at the center of that part of your life, you have to together put that part of your life to Jesus, to be a follower and disciple of him in that area of your life as well. Which is, it can be hard because we all have temptations and we all fall short of the glory of God, but you can do it.
What is hard though is once you cross the boundary, it's very hard to go back. So it's
you
good
want to stay a safe distance.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
just
what else?
put boundaries in place that are relevant to both of you.
Make it hard for you to go close to those boundaries without you even
But then
thinking about it.
I guess that's
Get
not
open
really
door policy.
that's not really assessing where the line is in that question.
Yeah, where's
But
the line?
I would say that you got to think like the line is.
If it's causing you to
Imagine this boy that you like, or this girl, probably a boy.
For these girls, yes.
We hope so.
Like
We're praying for that. Anyway.
Like, assume that that's not going to be your husband. Think about who your husband is and think, would I want to be telling my husband what I was doing with a boy when I was 15? Like,
tell the story you want to tell.
yeah, write the story you want to tell. So,
It's good.
so
a good
obviously,
answer.
like, kissing's one thing, but then you probably don't want to be telling your future husband about other things that you might have been doing.
Kathy,
Yes.
should a girl ever ask a guy out?
Oh. I think it's acceptable. Whether they should, maybe not. I'm a very romantic person, and I think as much as it's fun to chase a guy, he is a man, and I think the guys should do the asking out. It kind of proves himself, and
As a man.
it makes, okay, so if I was to ask a guy out, I think I would have less respect for him. I think
Yeah.
if he asked me out, I would have more respect for him, because, you know, as much as some girls want to wear those pants in the relationship, guys wear the pants. Like, you know, God made Adam first, and
To be the leader.
yeah, to be the leader, and he made Eve for a partner for Adam, and I think it's the same now. It's exactly the same. We're meant to respect our husbands and be or boyfriends and just be under them, like not. That sounds really bad.
Not literally.
Not literally under them, but like just you know, they have the higher authority, and they're the protector, they're the ones who are going to look after you, and they're the ones who are going to you know, lead the family. And as much as a girl needs to have speech or some kind of authority in the relationship, technically the guy is the man, and you know, he has to be the man.
Be a man.
It's a little strange, but you know, these days it's acceptable, I guess.
But would you find it weird if
I
a
would
girl...
personally
Would you
find
find
it
it
a
like
bit
a
weird.
turn off,
Yeah.
maybe?
It depends. If the girl is like, you get some girls they'll change who they like every second week, and if they're really flirty with a lot of different guys and have got a history with doing that, then maybe it's a bit of a turn off. But if it's like the first time they've ever done it, and they really, really like the guy, It's not that weird. I mean, me personally, maybe find it a little bit weird.
It'd be weird.
I think so.
I'd find it weird.
Yeah. But you never know. It depends on the person.
Is it hard to ask out a girl, would you prefer to do the chasing?
Hell no.
I don't think anyone wants to do the chase. Well,
No, it's
actually,
fun.
it depends on the person.
I think maybe she's asking, is it alright if a girl asks out a guy? And my thoughts would be, well, for me personally, I want, like, if I end up dating a girl and we end up getting married, I want her to know that I pursued her, I chased her because I thought she was amazing and adorable. And so I want her to know that, you know, I pursued her because, yeah, I liked it that much. And not the fact that she asked me out and she might have the thought that, oh, did he really actually want to date me, or did I just push it? Did I just make it happen?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so for me, it's all right. I just let the man be a man. It's the man's job to probably do that, and if he's not confident enough, or he needs to grow up a little bit. Harsh, but I
Grow
think
some
it's true.
plums.
Grow some balls.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think in terms of guys, I think most, well, from what I've experienced and what I've spoken to other people as well, this is like the fear of rejection, I guess, is the biggest one that plays a part of that thing, because you're like, oh,
It goes both ways.
it goes both ways, but
It's part of relationships,
but
really.
yeah, it does. It is part of a relationship. You kind of just have to, I don't know, you just have to assess where you are in the relationship, I reckon, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. Another thing I'd say is, if the girl's doing the chasing, she's probably going to do the chasing for the rest of the relationship. I think it sets the tone and the kind of,
Yeah. But then again, see, that's like an overall thing.
is-
Like some
It's
relationships.
a big generalisation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because it can go the other
But
way
it's
around.
true though.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what Andrew and I were talking about.
It can go the other way around completely. Like maybe, say, maybe a guy is like, oh, you know, I can't bother chasing girls anymore, or whatever. I just never works out, and then it kind of happens the other way around. You're like, oh well, this girl kind of seemed to be interested, and then see how we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But what I mean by that, yeah, I agree, it's a generalisation, but it's probably true. Like, if a guy hasn't got the balls enough or confidence enough to ask out a girl, he might not have the confidence to ask, you know, if something's wrong, or if something is up, he won't have the stomach to bring it up, or he won't. You just lack the stomach to do anything.
Well, for almost every guy I've ever known, including me, it's the rejection is a big thing. So it's like, you would prefer to do the chasing. There's a fine line between being chased by a girl and a girl showing interest. Like, no guy is going to go and ask a girl out if they've got this massive fear of rejection, if they think they will be rejected. They're most likely, unless they're super confident, they're not going to. So I think it's important to show interest, but don't chase. Just make it clear where you stand with him, but let the boy do the chasing. And if he wants to, he will chase the girl.
What is your perspective on dating in high school?
I think dating in high school, like, I don't think it's necessarily high school, but I think just dating in general, I think, like, you date to find your future partner, your husband. So I feel like, you know, you really need to think about in high school whether, you know, dating when you're, say, 12, whether you're going to be able to get married. Like, it's,
There is the rare occasion.
but I think, like, dating should be something that's really very serious. And so I feel like, and also I feel like before you date, you need to be, like, emotionally stable. I think you need to kind of be, like, secure in yourself. And
This is not just going out on a Friday night. You're
No.
sharing your whole life.
and you're really searching for the one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like if you're not really comfortable in yourself and things like that, I think dating can be a dangerous thing. And I feel like in high school, it's like you really, that's the period where you're really experimenting and trying to find yourself and learn more about yourself. And, you know, there's big changes, like you go from being like this little girl to like a woman, and there's a whole lot of changes and experiences that come with that. And so I think high school is sort of like that learning experience. And so I think dating is really better either the later years of high school or really once you leave high school, because by then I think you've kind of matured and you're more ready for marriage. I think if you're not really, your relationship with God isn't good, you're emotionally not stable, and you're still trying to find yourself, I think, you know, then leave the dating till after high school because there's no rush. No rush. No rush.
Do it.
But don't do it.
No.
Don't.
It's true. Like, do it, but
In a mature
like,
way.
yeah, in a mature
Try
way.
to
So
be
make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, and it just means that, like, if you're dating for the right reasons, like to learn,
Yeah.
to grow, I think that's really great.
It's the right reasons.
The right
That's
reasons.
the key there.
But there could be wrong reasons to date, and yeah, I'm sure you're aware of them.
High school is a very dangerous place.
Yeah.
I guess physically there's so many temptations as a young person because you're not quite sure what is right and what is wrong, especially where's the line, because there's going to be
Lots of influences.
people who have these standards about a relationship. There's going to be people having sex already. There's going to be
Oh,
people
yeah.
talking about what they did on the weekend, and so it can be very hard to know in your relationship in high school if it's right or wrong, or where to go, because you can compare yourself to other relationships, and your boyfriend might do that too. He might be like, well, these people are doing this, so why can't we? And it makes you question physically and what is okay and what's not, because there's so many people who have different standards, and you just have to know yourself and know you know, your beliefs and what you believe in.
It's not worth it. I did it, and I can say from my experience, focus on school. I mean, if there's someone that you completely head over heels in love with,
Anything you could marry.
and you think, you know, people meet when they're 13 and get married. I'm not giving no ideas, but unless it's like an extreme circumstance, I don't think it's really worth neglecting your studies and your future for that, which, to be honest, hardly ever lasts. As harsh as that sounds, high school relationships.
So a lot of parents don't want their kids to date in high school
This is true.
It's true.
for whatever reason. Whether
focus
it's to
on their
concentrate
studies.
on their studies or because they're worried that they're too immature or whatever.
Yeah.
But you got to look at your own, where you are personally, and think that if you're going to get into a relationship with someone, then you're going to be tempted, and there's going to be a lot of other stuff going on that you wouldn't otherwise have to deal with, and you got to think if you're mature enough to handle those sort of situations.
You know, it's better to wait as long as possible, and that way you can skip all those temptations. And then, you know, when you're older, you know, God will lead you to the right guy at the right time, and it'll just all be like magic.
You just have to keep trusting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something I've really learned is dating in general. I think, like, me and Kathy both kind of, like, I don't know, just find that, you know, God's got a plan. He knows which guys you're meant to date. And so if you really give your full self up to him and trust in him, you know, the right guy will come around at the right time. And I guess it sucks because sometimes, you know, you watch those cute movies, you're like, oh, like, I really want a guy to do that for me, or I really want a boyfriend.
Even cartoon movies, they make love look like this massive romantic.
Just this most amazing thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, God will put the right guy in your life at the right time when you're ready and when the timing and everything is right. It only takes one guy.
Yeah,
You
and
only need one guy.
it's often when you stop looking,
Yeah, is when.
is that when God, because you
Yeah.
grow in yourself, and so God is preparing you. I'm just going to come in so I feel like I'm not just talking to Andrea. Often when you're single, you have this time, it's a blessing, and you have this time to grow in yourself for your future husband. And God's given you that time to trust in him, grow in him, and become who he wants you to be for your future husband. And, like, ask yourself this question, are you the person you're looking for is looking for? Do you get it?
I got it.
Andrew got it.
Someone else said that to me the other day.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you want to be that person for your someone, and if you're not there, then, you know, God isn't going to give you
Reveal them
someone.
to you,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So you have to become the person you're looking for is looking for. That's all I have to say.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. That's it.
Yeah. Do you think it's okay to consider dating a non-Christian?
Ooh, okay. There's a specific. Actually, this was one I really struggled with for me personally because most of my guy friends were all non-Christians. And I was really tight with a lot of the guys from there that were really good guys, and that's probably the reason why I didn't actually end up dating a lot of them, because I don't know, I started seeing them and then I'd pray about it and it just didn't feel right. I believe God's pretty clear about dating non-Christians. I think he says in his word, like, don't be unequally yoked, and basically that means not just don't date a non-Christian, but I think he really wants us to date someone that's sort of at a similar faith level, because that way, I think if you're at a similar faith level, or even someone who's maybe a little bit higher, they can help bring you closer to God, and keeping God at the center will be something that's really easy. Whereas if someone's a little bit lower in their faith level, maybe even just like a baby Christian, just got to know God, you're going to be the one that's going to have to try and keep them on the right track and kind of pull them up. And I think that it'll really like stunt your growth with God. And I've heard of cases.
It sounds like a crime scene.
It actually does. Like when my friends have dated, they were Christians, baptized, pretty like involved in church, and they've dated non-Christian guys, and like unfortunately, because the guy wasn't really encouraging them in their faith, eventually they kind of drifted away from church and drifted away from God, and maybe did things that they did regret. And even one of my mom's best friends, she married a guy and he was like a Christian, he did go to church, but he wasn't again at the same faith level, and she just recently divorced him because he cheated on her. And I think that this is something that's really important, because God's trying to, at the end of the day, it's to help save us from future hurt.
I don't think it's not a sin to like date a non-Christian, but I just don't think it's the best idea. Only because, well, if Jesus is like at the center of your life, and the other person you're dating has no idea about it, or he has pretty much no idea about you, kind of thing. And like, obviously people go into that, like with this question, there's a lot of like, flirt to convert mentality. I'll hang out with this guy to try and, bring him closer to Christ. I think a good idea to do is keep your distance, don't start dating him yet. Like, you can try and introduce him to Christian guy friends and try and get them to bring him to church or bring up faith kind of stuff, so it's not you doing all the pushing.
That's a good.
Because if you start dating, like what can happen is, if you start dating a non-Christian and it starts getting serious, and he's going to start going one way, you're going to start going another way, and like you're going to living your life for Christ, and he's not. It's just the longer and the deeper it goes, it's just going to get harder and harder.
Okay, so you want Jesus at the center of your life. You're going to want to put him at the center of your relationships. And so if he's not that center of the relationship, it can go other way. Either you go towards Christ more and he doesn't, or he brings you down. Yes. And it can go the other way where he brings you up as well.
It's a bit of a self-assessment.
When you start getting emotionally involved, physically involved, it becomes way too hard to be strong. And like it becomes way too hard to start fighting that temptation to chase him, kind of thing.
High school relationships, especially with non-Christian people, I think that's a whole nother question. Did you ask that question?
No, we've got that one.
Yeah, we've
got that one. Non-Christians, don't waste your time with that, because it's always going to end up in disagreement, and you have whole different moral compasses. Save yourself. Stay pure. You'll find the right person. You'll find the best person for you, and just don't settle for second best.
You do have that unbalance, like in the Bible it says being equally yoked. That's spiritually, I guess, emotionally you have to be ready for a relationship as well. If they're not, and they're, struggling or
still getting over someone.
Yeah, still getting over someone, and just don't have the same maturity as you, it can be really hard. And I know even with friends, like I was close friends with this guy for 3 years, and I loved him. Like, he was awesome. We're best friends. We did everything together. He wasn't a Christian, but it's so hard, that question of, is it okay to date a non-Christian? Because you do find guys who are
good guys,
really good guys, and who are sometimes better than the Christian guys you know.
Yeah.
And so you have this question like, well, maybe it's okay because they're better than the Christian guys, but yes, they could be better, but that same faith level, if it's that important to you, you just won't go there, because that you need someone who's going to lift you up emotionally,
Spiritually.
and spiritually. And if they don't understand your faith and where you come from and your beliefs, if you've grown up with them, that can be really daunting and really hard on your faith, and it can make you question your faith, which is really dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you want to be God at the center of your life, he has to be the center of every relationship as well. So you have to consider him being the very center of your relationship, and if you're dating someone who's non-Christian, then he's not going to be the center of that relationship.
What do you do when the guy you're interested in's parents do not like you or approve of you?
Well, they shouldn't have a reason to disapprove of you anyway. You girls are all great girls, but
Aww.
That's such a cute answer, Stephen.
But-
They're all going to be like, oh, Steve.
Yeah.
but I don't know. You can do things. You can maybe make it a bit more obvious. Your good traits. You can do nice things in front of them. I don't know. Be kind. Be generous. I don't know.
Find out what it is that they don't like, and try and show them that you're not
Maybe
like
just
that.
be mature about it. If they disapprove of you, maybe just even talk to them. You might, only year 9s, but say, what can I, why,
What can I do,
what can I do?
to change your mind about
What
it?
is it about
Yeah.
this relationship or me that you don't like?
What? First, I'd be like, why don't they like me? I'll try to
Suss it out.
suss it out, ask her, and then kind of, I don't know, try and just try and talk to the parents and understand why they don't like you. And then if you find out what it is, you'd be like, oh. And if it's like something that you know is probably a bad trait to have, maybe you can like work on it and like pray about it. But if it's like, if they just don't like you because you're dating their daughter, then you can't really fix that.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult when you're at high school age, because you're not really an adult technically, and you sort of you rely on your parents a lot, and you have to honour and respect your parents' wishes and the parents of the boy that you like or whatever's parents as well, and you have to respect that, and it might be, even if it's sort of not really warranted, you still have to respect it. And I guess when you become an adult, then
You understand?
you're out on your own and you can make your own decisions, but you still need to honour your parents and the parents of the person that you may like.
Exactly. Even if they don't like you, I mean, you just have to respect them, right?
It's a good one, Bradley.
I guess with the question, it's kind of leading on to she maybe feels like the parents don't like her. And then, like what Chewie said, you kind of ask yourself the question, why don't they like me? Is it because they just don't like me in general, or is it because I've done something, or I'm doing something, or maybe it's the way you bring out the worst. You might bring out the worst in their son, or you might bring out the best in their son. And if it's the worst, well, obviously, they might think you're a bad influence on your son. And yeah, I'd say respect is a big thing. Just if they have a rule, like honour that. If they have just respect how you talk to them, how you treat them, how you treat their son. Just
Good one. Again.
Okay. So there is a girl, and she is good friends with lots of guys, and then she is interested in a guy who teases her about being friends with lots of other guys. What is your advice to the girl?
I'd say it sounds like the guy kind of might be interested in the girl.
Yeah.
And he's seeing her. Saying you don't know what you've got till you lost it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just kind of like, oh, if she actually starts dating another guy, I might get really jealous and realize how much I like this girl. So maybe he's just trying to tease her a little bit.
Do you think he could like her?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think he could also...
I think it's probably just a hint of jealousy. Generally, if a guy teases you, or if a guy does something like that, he's jealous.
Okay.
And what's the
Trying to
question?
get your attention.
What can you do about it?
Yeah.
If you like him back, go along with it.
And show
Tease
that
him
you like
back. Flirt.
Or maybe say, I'm not interested in these other guys.
Make it clear
Little
where you
subtle.
stand with them. Just say, oh no, they're just good friends. Make
Okay.
that clear. And just go with the flow, if they flirt with you,
Okay.
don't hold back.
So yeah, I think he yes, his true intentions or feelings are that he does like the girl, but he just doesn't know how to convey those feelings, and that's why he kind of.
Go, guy, go. Oh wait, that's a girl that's watching.
I guess what she should do is just.
Does that make just sense? Does that make any
No,
sense?
it makes
there?
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what should she do in that situation?
Just be. Don't change anything. She can confront the guy if she feels like it's getting to that point, but she doesn't have to. If she really feels like the guy might actually like her and he's just doing this because he's jealous or insecure or something like that.
Pull him aside and just have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, but just leave it. Just be chill. If you're a friendly person, if you're a confident person, you're friends with heaps of people. Well, that's just you. That's just you being you. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think you have to look at other factors as well as just that he teases you about girls. You need to look at the other ways that you interact and decide for yourself whether you think that he's just teasing you about it or whether it's him trying to show his feelings towards you. Yeah. So it's not one or the other. You have to look at other factors as well.
Flirting is like flirting in year 9 is probably just teasing.
Like it's
people
different.
show their affection in different ways.
Yes, it's true.
That's true.
So that's why you have to kind of.
Another thing is you could always just have the conversation.
That would be the
Most.
That's
But
very
you-
mature.
Appropriate
You'd want to have a
thing to do.
conversation if you were pretty sure.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
don't
that
wanna-
would be the last. That would be
You
like
don't. You
your
don't want
last-
to jump to conclusions.
No, exactly not. So you kind of assess it as it goes on, and if it seems to get a bit more intense, then you go like, hey,
If it gets to that stage, you have to.
yeah. Sooner or later you will.
That sounds pretty chill.
But I think it's pretty normal though. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Excellent. You and your interest or crush, as
Yeah.
it says, have
Romantic
been
person.
Just put-
in a bad situation. Do you move on?
Move on, like as in just.
Yes, like break
let it
up.
go.
Let it go.
Oh.
Bye.
Not necessarily. Like you're always gonna have conflict, and
No, that's what makes. I reckon. It
you just gotta
depends.
work through it.
Yeah, I think. That's
You
what
know,
makes.
you only work through it if it's worth working through.
Yes, exactly. And also,
And
if you care about the person enough, you'll strive to kind of overcome those
Absolutely.
bad situation, I guess.
But
it makes your relationship stronger, I guess, if you can overcome
It
that.
also depends. You got to look at history. If it's like a recurring thing.
Yeah, then-
If it's like
Yes.
my boyfriend / love interest /
Cheated on
whatever
you.
cheats on me
All the
once,
time.
and then I give
Well,
him another
then-
go, and he cheats on me again.
So then you know that you should probably not be with that person.
Yeah. So you got to look at it if it's a recurring thing, or
Like
if it's
that.
just like, oh, my parents don't want us to be together. Like,
Were you trying to be a girl then?
No, like, exactly what Brad said. It depends on the situation, I think. But I mean,
you got to
I
look
think-
if
History's a good thing.
yeah, I don't think year 9. I don't think year 9's not going to be that intense with the.
oh, you don't
Oh,
know
actually-
year 9s these days.
Actually,
man.
you're probably right. Yeah.
You don't know.
You just have to look if it's
Coming
worth
from a
the
guy's
effort.
perspective in year 9.
If you are in love with her, or if you're in love with him,
You think
sorry,
you're in love with her.
it's probably worth fighting. I'd say.
Accept that we're all human and everyone's going to make mistakes and you're always going to fight. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship and you're always going to disagree. But if something goes wrong and you're not happy or they've done something you're not happy with or you're arguing about something, talk to them about it, don't yell. Have a mature conversation and discuss it, why it happened, and try and move on. But the thing is, if it's consistent and it happens again and again, and they apologise but continue to do the same thing over and over again, then it's not worth it. And they're never going to change. You can't change a person.
Only God can.
Only God can. So if it's something you can't live with, I mean, you've got to love everyone for their flaws, but if it's something you can't live with, and no matter how many times you've discussed it, it doesn't stop or doesn't change, you've got to decide whether you can live with it or not.
I don't know what
It's a
the-
choice.
bad-
It's
How
a
do
choice.
you know when to move on and when to let it go?
Pray
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably.
Good
One
answer.
to me.
Yeah,
Well done.
Probably pray about it. Get the wiser people in your life to.
Talk to people that are really close to you, that
Yeah.
you feel you can trust and you can talk about it.
Like a small group leaders.
I think talking to others, choosing carefully who you talk to though, but I think talking to others can help.
Discernment's best in community, so that involves you guys, the small group leaders,
Woo!
church leaders,
Yeah.
us wiser heads.
They
right
can't
here.
see us, but we're here.
I think that's
That's
good. That's good.
Yeah. So how do you
Seriously.
bring up religion without forcing religion onto someone? So
Assuming
girls.
the other person is not.
So I'm thinking it's kind of like a
How
girl
do you
is
bring up your
interested
faith
in a guy.
without forcing
Talk about
religion?
Bibles.
Not sure. They haven't spoken about it yet, so they don't know.
So they want to bring up their
They want to
faith,
find out where they're at.
but without forcing
I
religion.
find the best way to do it is to talk about stories, and then you kind of get to know the person. And most people have a theology, whether it's they believe in Christ or not. They have a theology, so they have a certain degree, an opinion on certain things. And you just kind of got to draw into that, try and work out what it is. Normally, it's based on personal situations, like something bad has really happened, and so their view on Christ is really bad because how can this happen? How can there be God of love if this happens? And so there's, that's I reckon why the main reason why people have such a negativity towards religion. But I think finding them out, or getting to know them personally, and then asking them questions, is the easiest thing to do, I guess.
I think it's a lot easier when you know them a bit better. Like when you first kind of hang out with them, it's like, I don't know if I feel comfortable enough to kind of bring it up.
Yeah.
But then
Neutral ground is good.
Yeah.
So you don't take them to church or you
just talk.
in a
Just
general place.
you can talk about it just in passing or whatever. Like,
Well, I'm guessing most of these girls
I'll
will
be
be
like,
at
what are you doing
school.
Friday night? Like, I got a youth or whatever. Like, what's
Yeah.
that? And then you kind of, you start sort of small and just kind of just talk about it a bit more. And then,
Yeah.
But there could be some situations or some circumstances where you can be really bold and go, well, like say you're hanging out together, or he's like a non-Christian, you're hanging out in a place that might be confronting for you, or it might be compromising your standards and your values a little bit, and you're like, hey, nah, this isn't for me. I don't really want to associate myself with this place. He'll be like, oh, why? What's that? And then you can so it's important to be
Being
bold,
open about your
and
faith.
to stand up for your faith. But in terms of pressing it onto them, be patient and pray about it. Ask God for an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I think the best way that you can sort of show that you're a Christian and introduce them to the ideas of Christianity is by just being Christ-like, you know? Just doing the things that you think are right and not compromising your values, like Nath said. So if you find yourself in a party situation, things are happening that you don't like or you don't feel comfortable with, then you make that clear, because then people will start asking questions. Why is that?
Yeah, why is this?
Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, what Brad just said, there's a Bible verse that talks about how God is love, and when we love because God is in us, it's like an example of his love. So it's kind of when we love people, it's reflecting him.
Yeah.
Why is it important to save yourself for marriage? From a guy's perspective.
It's what God
Yeah,
asks us
ultimately,
to do.
it's I mean,
Plus, like, sexually, that's our gift to our partner when we're married. That's what Brad said earlier. Write the story you want to write. Tell the story you want to tell.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of like, it's really special if you and your partner have waited, and that's something you share. And,
Yeah.
you intimately have together. And I think sex before marriage can complicate a lot of things.
yes.
It's
Could
not
bring
just
a lot of heartbreak.
a lot of heartbreak. Not just physical, but emotional weight to it as well. So.
In all seriousness.
Girls, in all seriousness, I can't take this seriously, but always be true to yourself. I know it sounds cliched, but always be yourself, because you by being false and by pretending to be someone you're not, you're gonna not find the right person. Some person is gonna like an image of you that's not you. Always be true to yourself. Never be happy with second best. Always try your hardest in everything you do. Don't waste your time trying to impress the wrong people.
So we don't get to it going, oh.
Why?
And I don't know where to look. Do I look in the camera? Hi girls. Do you like my eye?
Some sort of.
Or she could ask her dad to go talk to the boy and get the dad to ask the
That's
questions.
the worst
That's
idea.
weird. I agree.
I would never do
I
that.
would probably like jump off a cliff, man.
I would like, oh yeah.
Don't
Take that out.
take that part out. Delete that last
That's
part.
the worst thing I've heard in my life.
Okay.
Adidas.
Sing like no one's listening, dance like no one's watching, and live like you've never loved before.
What is this? This is an ad for Chanel.
To your husband, which is so exciting. It's just like, thanks God for the wedding gift. Now I get to have sex. Like, yeah, so that's.
I hope Annalise' mom's not in the room.
When the world turns, I turn with it. Chanel number 5. It's inevitable.
But if you're trying to do it just to like please yourself, it could be bad. That was really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Just cut that. Poor choice of words.
What's the question?
No way.
You have a seal.
Love everyone. That's.
But don't love them too
But
much.
don't love them too much.
Okay, so I went for a walk this morning and I asked God what He wants you guys to know as well, because I know that you have questions and it's good to have questions, and the guys are going to answer a few of them, or they have already. And Andrea and I have answered a few too, but I think it's good to know what God has to say. So I was praying and I really felt God say this. He wants you all to know that you are loved, whether you're in a relationship or not. God accepts you for you. He places people around you and will bless you. So the people around you are often the biggest blessing anyway. They're often the biggest blessing anyway. Like friends, like for me, Andrea, for example, we get along really well, and you know, we talk about basically everything. And so it's people like that. So God's just going to bless you in your relationships, and whether you're in a relationship with a boy or not, He just loves you despite that, and He has given you that time to grow in Him. And so you have to give Him the glory daily and give Him your whole life. And it sounds easier than done. I know I struggle with it. Because often I'll be like, yes, I did this and I achieved that, but often it's just like, God, thank you for giving me that opportunity, and thank you for blessing me with that opportunity for me to be able to achieve that, and just give Him that glory in everything that you do, because we're pretty privileged and we have a lot, and so we have to keep giving God the glory, and even the bad situations as well, just because He is a part of them. And in bad situations, for example, if you break up with a guy, just as much as it's hard, you just need to thank Him, because you're gonna grow. You're gonna grow from it, and you're gonna learn from it. And it's those opportunities that God places situations in your life for you to become who you're gonna be. And so I just wrote down, give Him your whole life, and give Him the pen of your life, and the pen of your love story. Often we think that we know best and that we can achieve better than what God could, which is the stupidest thing ever, because we all know that God
knows best.
He knows best, and He's got the plan. So in order for Him to be a part of our plan, He has to be the author of our life and our love story. And so we have to actually give Him that pen, which means praying, and it means listening to Him and reading the Bible, and just knowing that He is your everything. As long as you are placing Him at the center of your life, His plan will be better than your own. Trust Him, love Him, and give Him your every being, and you will be blessed, so blessed. And yes, that's all we have to say. And we had fun today.
We love you.
We had lots of fun. We love you. We hope you've enjoyed seeing this. We thought filming might be a bit more real, considering we have a camera that can do it. We thought, why not? And yeah, we just love you girls, and we're always here for you, and we'd love any more questions.
Any relationship, any dilemmas, any friendship
We're so blessed
things.
to be a part of your life as much as you think you're blessed to have us. We're so blessed to have you, because we learn from you guys as well, and we just love doing life
You're
with
such
you.
beautiful girls.
Yeah,
we're so blessed.
Blessed. And
everyone was like, "Good luck with you 9."
And I love that you're all different. You all have different personalities.
But
and it's so exciting to see how you guys are growing as well. So keep going, and Jesus loves you, and so do we.
Yeah. Bye.